That point there, that measurement, that needs to be 90 degrees. So I need to make a jig or a contraption or a fixture of some kind that holds and suspends all three pieces together. And he has designed this jig. I think it's very, very clever, and it ticks all the boxes.
We are getting so close. I'm really, really pleased. Is that what you're saying? Why am I wearing a silly donut? Yes, you have to.
Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another video. This one has been a long time coming. I've got a lot to do and it's Sunday afternoon already, so we better get straight into it. So, the Ranalah progress. Things have been looking good. They've been on hold, if I'm honest, for a bit. But bits are still bubbling away under the surface. There's things going on, mainly to do with the wheels, as you've seen in the last video. The lower wheels are kind of in drawing stage. The top wheel is being made as we speak. Well, no, not as we speak because it's Sunday, but the top wheel will be the next thing that you see that is sort of being produced at the moment. This is, well, it's broken, but that is the original lower, sort of the hand wheel, what should we call it? So this is the lower hand wheel from Anthony's Ranalah wheeling machine. So this is an original Ranalah part, and this has been with the pattern makers for a while. They have made a pattern, as you've seen in my previous videos. If you haven't seen those videos, please go check them out, because we go up to meet the pattern makers and Chris at the foundry. There's a whole series of videos there covering all of that. They're very clever guys. They have the original. They transfer this into wood, make a wooden pattern. Chris gets hold of the pattern at the foundry, presses it into the sand, casts a part, and we go from there. You can see the red part is essentially the metal part, and the black part is it's sitting in like an odd box, they call it. So it's because it's a one-piece pattern, it tells Chris where halfway is, because they still have to make top and bottom boxes of sand. So the red part is the actual wooden, the pattern, which is going to create the negative space, and the odd box is the part where it determines where halfway is, because of this rounded shape as well. I've had this first part cast for a while now. It needs some work on a lathe. You can see, let me put this down and I'll show you. This is the new part. As usual, the pattern makers have done an absolutely perfect job. I mean, look at that. I could not ask for more. Look at that. It's bang on, absolutely bang on. So this surface here has been turned on a lathe. That rough casting here would have carried on that thickness all the way up, and then this part has been turned down on a lathe. The end has been faced, which means kind of like squared off. So that's had a pass on the lathe as well. There's a hole in the middle. That would have also been done on the lathe whilst it's in the chuck. And then the other side, the hole comes all the way through, and you can even see on it the lines. That's where the lathe, that's been in the chuck of the lathe, and they've done a sort of a facing off pass that way, which has removed this material. So on my one, my new one, I've got a bit sticking out just to make sure that I've got enough material. That's what this would have looked like. I need to grab this in the lathe and remove that bit of material there. That just gives me enough meat there. That just gives me enough material so that I can face this off and know that it's perfectly flat. And then I'll drill a hole through the middle, face off this back side, and then turn. I've started here, you can see where I had a little play. Carry on that all the way down until it looks like that. This is really the only bit of the machine that you're regularly touching when you're adjusting the pressure. So I need to make sure that that hole that's drilled in the middle is concentric and in the center to the outside face that you touch, that you're holding. If I need to grab it in the lathe by the outside of the handle, by where my fingers are, I need to hold it on the outside, so that is perfectly round. That's why I've put extra material on this face, so that it can be slightly off, and it allows for it to be slightly off. And to kind of back up my assumptions, the original one, that where they've removed material from this face, the step
here is a lot bigger than the step there. So, which tells me that that is off center ever so slightly, and they've grabbed it by the outside, and then that's landed wherever it's landed. They've just removed enough material from here until it's perfectly round and concentric to that.
Problem is, I have a little Boxford lathe. I've had it for years and it's been brilliant. It's my first lathe that I've ever bought, and it did me really well. But the chuck was not big enough to grab the outside of the wheel adjuster. It was nowhere near. Even if I put different jaws on it, I've already got quite a big chuck on it. There is no way it was going to fit. My poor little Boxford has gone. I managed to get it squeeze it in the back of the van, and I've donated it to John. John hasn't got a lathe. He's been asking for one for a while. He's been asking me to look around for one. So I thought, you know what? I'll give John my old one with all of the bits and bobs that I've got with it, and I'll get myself a new one, a bigger one that's got a big enough chuck to hold this lower hand wheel just how I want to. But I'm very pleased to say I've got a Colchester. It's got a 10-inch chuck. It's a 3-foot bed. I got it from a guy. It was in his shed. He's had it in his shed for about 10 or 12 years. Barely used it. Before then, he bought it from an aerospace company. It's really not had a super hard life. So I am chuffed. I've got drawers full of all the different bits of tooling that came with it. It weighs 1.2 tons, apparently. It's ridiculous. So I had to get the high ab the truck to get it to move it again. We wheeled it in on the pallet truck in a couple of skates, got it in position, and then bang. I could not work out the wiring. What a nightmare. As you all know, I'm sure, after the Vespa restoration, wiring and me do not go very well together. This was, in theory, very straightforward. It shouldn't have been that complicated, but I just couldn't get it to work. So there's been many, many calls to brother Dan, calls to the guy that I got it from, who is also an electrician, was like, no, it's easy, just do this, and I couldn't get it working. It's got like a coolant pump that pumps the coolant. I couldn't get that working, but then the lamp wouldn't work. It's just been one thing after another, and it's all electrical problems, nothing really wrong, but just I don't even know. But this Sunday afternoon, I'm very pleased to say that it's here, it's wired in. I've just finished turning down the outer diameter of a little bushing, which is part of the jig, which is the next thing that we're working on. I'm actually going to use that on the jig for the very first one. That's because I need to adjust the jig, so why not use a Ranalah hand wheel. Whitworth threaded bar. So I'm looking to kind of create something similar to this. My hand wheel adjuster on the threaded rod that fits onto the jig. So this part is threaded in there to the same thread. This is going to get welded onto the jig. Then I can screw the threaded bar through there, adjust it with the lower wheel that's on the bottom. My nice M10 stainless steel adjustable feet have also turned up, which is great. So hopefully today I can get my adjustable feet welded on. I need to weld some nuts in there. And then this insert, this threaded insert, fits in there. Then the threaded rod can run through there, and I need to make another bush to go in there. It's been a good few hours. I may know how to use the lathe basically, but I'm very slow. But it's going okay, look. So let me show you what I've got so far. So I've got this part, the main threaded insert.
screws nicely on the end there. Then I've just made this, which is not threaded inside. That's smooth inside. And this is like the bush. So this fits nicely. Perfect. That fits nicely in there. That's the whole point of this top part of the jig. This is just a kind of guide to make sure that the threaded rod doesn't bend anywhere. I've turned the end of the threaded rod until it's round. Now that's 14 mil, I think. So I need to drill a hole in the end of that. That's 14 mil. So the handle will fit on the end of the threaded rod.
To be able to just put that adjustable wheel in the chuck like that and do it up and it fit perfectly, it's quite a big deal for me. Whole new machine, whole load of wiring, weeks of sorting things out. But yes, it's in the lathe, it's in the chuck. It's time to make it look like the original. It's working well. The lathe is lovely. I'm really, really pleased with it. I need a slightly bigger drill bit to make the hole bigger in the end of the handle, but I'll get that during the week. Then I'll be back Friday. So I'm down at the repair shop for 4 days this week. I've got Friday off, so I'll be back here on Friday and I'll bring the welding gas so I can actually weld all of this together, get some progress on the jig. We'll come back on Friday and we'll get this jig welded back together. Bang, blink of an eye, the whole week's gone. Now it's Friday and we're back. I've got a pile of parts over there now that I'm ready to weld bits in place, a couple of turn bits, do this, do that. There's a lot to do, but let's get to it. First thing I want to do is weld on these stainless steel adjustable feet. So these are going to help with an uneven floor surface, and as I wind these up and down, I'm actually able to level the jig. So these are a really important part. I've had to wait 2 or 3 weeks for these to come in stock. So all I'm going to do is, these are an M10 thread. So I've got an M10 nut and I'm just going to weld it onto the body. So that's the adjustable feet all in place, which has now raised it up another inch or so. So it was important that I did that first. I think the next thing I need to do is work out how long that threaded rod needs to be, because at the moment it's far too long. So I need to be able to get it out of the bottom. So I need to put this back in front of the wheeling machine, of the body, take some measurements. I'm not sure if you can see over there, but I've got the jig in place at a good working height, and the threaded rod, as I expected, is far too long. So I'm going to cut about 100mm off the end, because I'll explain later, but basically I need to be able to get this threaded rod out and the jig out. Once I've set these parts in, I need to actually still be able to remove it. So I'm kind of governed by the height of the machine to the height of the floor, and this is where I've landed. So I'm going to chop it off. This is just warming up the handle. This is quite a big lump of iron. Just trying to get some heat in it. It's a very cold day. This is a silicon bronze filler rod that I'm using for this because of the cast iron. I was literally over the side there, ready to weld this in, and then I realised, hang on a second, when I wind the lower wheel, the hand adjuster wheel, all the way up, it's going to hit on the jig. When the lower wheel is there, it's going to hit. So this section here is going to have to go. Perfect. Look at that. Can I just interrupt the video quickly just to ask you all to please just hit that subscribe button. It helps us out so much. If you want to support the channel, that is the absolute best way to do it. It helps us out a huge amount. So please click the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and leave us a comment below. Thank you so much. Sorry for interrupting. Let's get back to welding. So this threaded insert sits there, like that, on the main frame. Now, before I can put this part in the Ranalah, it needs, you can see I've drawn these green lines all over it. The original one had welded arrows on it. That is so that when that's fixed into the actual casting and you pour the white metal in and it sets, that white metal has got something to grab hold of, because there are going to be forces as you're adjusting the machine and you're winding the lower wheel up. You're going to be, insert is going to be trying to twist inside the babbitt. So I'm going to sit now. I've worked it out and tried to sort of work it out evenly. The original one was not even at all, but I'm going to try and get it a bit even. and just see if I can weld some arrows nice and cool, because I don't want to distort this part because the inside is threaded. So as I heat it up, there's a chance it could ovalize and distort, but I may need to run a tap back through it, but that's no big issue. I'm just going to sit here and keep this as cold as possible. I'm going to be using quite a thick filler rod so that they'll be quite proud on top of the surface. I've gone for a join the dots situation, so I've got a start and a finish. Now I just need to join the dots and line up the arrows. Having this clear helmet from Weld, the view through this is literally like I'm looking through a window. It's so nice. You can adjust it just how you want it, and you can see everything. So when I'm doing this and I'm trying to follow a tiny little scribe mark that I can barely see, it's so nice having this helmet. So thank you, Weld. Now I'm going to let this cool naturally. I'm not going to quench it or run it under cold water or anything like that. I'm just going to let that cool down naturally, take its time. I'll go make a tea. Almost ready. I'm so excited. It's been a long old road, but we are getting there. And it's so nice to actually be working with the Ranalah machine, and the jig is now fixed into it. It's working. It is everything that I had planned. I've had to make a few little tweaks along the way, but it's coming together and it's working. The hand wheel's now wound up a little bit. This is the threaded, this is all part of the jig now, that's welded in place. So the threaded insert that we just welded on the little arrows is in there now. Now I can twist this handle and it will wind that up. I can easily twist this to adjust it, to get it in the right place, just where I want it. And now I just need to keep working my way up. Wind that thread up through there until it comes out there and into there. And then I can slide on the insert that fits in there. So this is the part that's going in next. It's the keyed part, it's smooth inside. And again, it's got these sort of nubblings on the outside. Those little bulges on the outside are doing the same thing that my dodgy welding has done on the lower threaded nut part. It's grippy bits for the babbit to actually get hold of and stop it twisting. So this is actually a cast part. So thank you, Chris, East Coast Castings, nice one. Look how beautiful that is. That's cast. Can you believe it? There's no pitting or marks or anything at all. It's beautiful. And that keyway has been wire eroded. So this is an offcut from the threaded rod of the adjuster that we put in. You can see the issue. That's not going to help. I need to locate that. I need that to be a nice, tight, snug fit. So I've got this huge chunk of brass, solid piece of brass. We'll turn this into a tube, essentially, or like a bush. The outer diameter will fit in here, and then we'll drill a hole through the middle that fits nice and snug over there, and it will just fill that gap in there with this piece of brass. But unfortunately, you're going to have to wait for the next video for that to happen, because I need to get out of here. I need to go home. I'm knackered, I'm tired, it's the end of the day. Please leave me some comments if you've got any creative, sort of constructive input. I would love to hear it. Make sure you've subscribed. You show your support, it helps me so much. If you can just click that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. But, oh, I haven't got the neon light on. I haven't got the neon, oh, unbelievable. That's better. I've gone for a join the dots. Oh, that's hot. Ish. Ah, ow. Oh no, my jumper.